As the summer draws closer, many students are no doubt already searching for that perfect summer job. But what awaits them? The latest job numbers in April exceeded expectations. So, on today's New Economy segment, we ask, what's the reality for those looking for work? For this, we're joined by Karin. She is a professional employment counsellor with JVS Toronto. She's also a regular contributor to the Toronto Job Search Examiner. Karin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So should we start with young people, students? We all remember last summer many students looking for a job couldn't get one because, of course, all those people who were left unemployed through the recession picked those jobs up. So what might we see this summer?
Well, it can be expected that there will be an increase in the jobs that students can find. The April numbers show the definite increase in jobs, but it's not clear yet how that would affect students per se, because those jobs are jobs that are created, a lot of them through government funding, provincial funding for summer jobs. And they also are competing with a lot of job searchers who have been out there for a while now. So even though things are better, there are many people out there looking, and the competition for jobs is really, really tight. Okay,
so you mentioned, some of the job creation. We all remember those very impressive job numbers in April, exceeding expectations. 4 times, I think, the number of jobs that many were expecting. And also we're hearing that half the jobs that were lost through the recession have now come back in terms of the same number. So where are these jobs? I mean, where are the jobs that people are seeing employment, able to get back into the workforce?
Well, a lot of it is still recovery. So a lot of it are jobs that people were laid off from, and they're not necessarily the same people, but the companies are hiring back in. So it might be administrative positions, service positions, management positions. The construction has been, the construction improvement has caused a lot of jobs to happen around that industry. So in building, in real estate, so those kind of jobs are definitely going to be growing. It's a lot about where people can generate an income. So if companies can see bringing someone in as a source of money, then they will. But the deeper kind of jobs that's in the background are a little bit harder now for companies. It's a bit more of a risk. So I think people are a little nervous about taking a risk, and they'll hire where they're pretty sure they can generate an income. Yeah, so that's part of what.
So any specifics you can give us? I mean, any new companies that are, relocating in various parts of the country that are hiring 100, 200, 300 people. Are you seeing specifics?
That's a tough one. That's very hard. I mean, obviously there's been some rebound in the auto manufacturing, for example, in Ontario. So there's some jobs there. But there's no particular large trends right now. I know that in education, post-secondary education, there's quite a bit of construction in Ontario, and I know there's a lot of investment by provinces into education. So possibly they'll be hiring there, and there's been some long-term, again, government investment in healthcare facilities. But there's not really a lot to predict. It's hard to tell. There's a lot of nervousness about major investments right now.
Yet we hear, about things like the HST coming into effect in provinces like Ontario. The promise from that is supposed to be making provinces more attractive so the companies do come in and hire people. But many would say, that takes some time. It's not an instant thing that happens. So right now, what's your best advice to someone who's looking to get a job? What are the industries, and how do you position yourself?
Well, I think the first thing people need to learn is to be very flexible in how they go about searching for work. To resort to the old job boards is not necessarily the best way to go about it. And it's possible that the way to find work is really to speak to people, to network and go out there and get a sense of what people want from you, and be willing to do whatever it takes in order to get hired. So, I mean, in terms of approaches, it really is a thing of getting online, perhaps using social networking tools, not necessarily resorting to the old systems where there are thousands of people looking for work, through the traditional boards. In terms of where people should go, well, people need to go with their strengths. There are going to be jobs in the service sector. That's the sector that rebounded in April. And that's an easy way to get in. So for a lot of people, that's the issue. But they must remember that whoever's out there is competing with people who perhaps were recently laid off, people who might have good skills and who are pretty competitive. So you really do need to go with what you do well, and it's recommended by a lot of people that it's worth actually getting an education or adding some skills, or even if it means volunteering or something like that, where you can add to your skill set so that you are more competitive.
What's changed though through the recession? You know, our employers, I think you touched on a little more leery to take someone on right away. They want to, you know, sort of test the person out before they actually make a commitment. So given that, I mean, what can you do as someone looking for work to move forward fast?
Well, I would say it's speaking to people. The tendency of job searchers to kind of sit back behind the computer is not a good one. I mean, it's good to do a little bit of that, but people really need to go out there and reach out. They need, as I said, to offer their skills and offer their time, and they need to raise their profile so that they're seen online. If an employer is going to look for them online, that they can find them and they look good. So you have to be a bit of your own self-marketing machine these days. Very
interesting. Okay, Karin Lewis, professional employment counselor, joining us. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.